pasando en inglés. Alicia, escucha, Alicia, porque me pasa algo. Algo está pasando, pero no sé qué. Pero se anda mal.
A day after Australia continues to grapple with utter shock and grief from the deadliest mass shooting it has seen in nearly 3 decades, a Jewish celebration at Sydney's iconic Bondi Beach turned into a scene of horror, leading to hard questions about rising extremism around the world. A father and son opened fire on a crowd. At least 16 people were killed. More than 40 were injured. Police say the attack was carried out by a 50-year-old man and his 24-year-old son during a Jewish festival held to mark Hanukkah. The father, identified by local media as Sajid Akram, died in a shootout with the police at the scene. His son, Naveed Akram, remains critically injured.
Boys, come, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Investigators say the 2 men had told their family that they were heading out on a fishing trip to Australia's south coast. Instead, they arrived armed at a crowded beach packed with families and children. Authorities are still working to establish the full motive behind this attack. But the police say this was a deliberate attempt to terrorize Australia's Jewish community. Australia's public broadcaster ABC reported that the attackers may have had links with the Islamic State group. The report said that 2 Islamic State flags were found inside the gunmen's vehicle. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese confirmed that the son had come to the attention of the security agencies back in 2019. At the time, officials assessed that there was no immediate or ongoing threat of violence. Reports now say that he was examined for possible contact with an Islamic State terror cell 6 years ago. The police have formally described the shooting as an anti-Semitic terror attack. Australia, remember, is home to around 150,000 Jews in a population of about 27 million. About 1/3 live in Sydney, many in the eastern suburbs around Bondi. Nearly 1,000 people were reportedly attending this Hanukkah event. Witnesses say the gunfire lasted around 10 minutes. Panic swept across the beach as people ran for cover into streets and parks. Community leaders say that the attackers wanted to kill as many Jews as possible.
¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué está pasando en inglés? Alicia, escucha, Alicia, porque me pasa algo.
Meanwhile, the Australian Prime Minister has called this attack pure evil. Following this incident, the Australian Prime Minister has vowed to push for harsher gun laws. Remember, Australia is considered to have one of the world's strictest gun restrictions.
What we saw yesterday was an act of pure evil, an act of anti-Semitism, an act of terrorism on our shores in an iconic Australian location, Bondi Beach, that is associated with joy, associated with families gathering, associated with celebrations, and it is forever tarnished by what has occurred last evening.
Now, as this attack unfolded, one man ran towards danger. He tackled a gunman, wrestled the weapon away, and forced the attacker to retreat. The police say that the moment of bravery may have saved many lives. The man, who's now been identified as 43-year-old Ahmad Al-Ahmad, suffered 2 gunshot wounds himself. The attack, meanwhile, has drawn sharp reactions from Israel, with leaders across the political spectrum condemning the violence and criticizing Australia's handling of anti-Semitism.
Anti-Semitism is a cancer. It spreads when leaders stay silent. It retreats when leaders act. I call upon you to replace weakness with action, appeasement with resolve. Instead, Prime Minister, you replaced weakness with weakness and appeasement with more appeasement. Your government did nothing to stop the spread of anti-Semitism in Australia.
Remember, this is not the first time that the Israel-Australia relationship has witnessed friction. In fact, the countries have gone from being staunch allies to having their lowest diplomatic ties in recent times. Australia has always had a pro-Israel foreign policy. But since August this year, when Australia announced that it would recognize Palestine as a state, and it eventually did, the relationship has soured. In August, Knesset member Simcha Rothman's visa to Australia was rejected for calling Palestinian children enemies of Israel. Australian Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke had justified it by saying, and I quote, "If you are coming to Australia to spread a message of hate and division, we do not want you here," unquote. Then Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar had revoked on the visas of Australian diplomats and accused the country of anti-Semitism. The next morning, Australia's Foreign Minister Penny Wong responded saying, and I quote, "The Netanyahu government is isolating Israel and undermining international efforts towards peace and a two-state solution." Prime Minister Netanyahu then weighed in and later wrote a letter on the 17th of August to the Australian Prime Minister, stating that Albanese's decision to recognize Palestine was adding fuel to this anti-Semitic fire. So what changed? Well, 3 major factors led to this drastic shift in the Australian stand. 1, Netanyahu's denial of a humanitarian crisis in Gaza and his plan to escalate attacks. 2, domestic pressure on Albanese to speak against Israeli actions, and with his party's victory in the May elections, the pushback was much less. And 3, key allies, UK, France and Canada had all said that they would recognize a Palestinian state weeks before Australia did, making Albanese's job easier and, of course, much less sophisticated. Meanwhile, radical insurgency continues to rise across the world. Authorities in Germany have said that they have arrested 5 men suspected of plotting a vehicle attack at a Christmas market. According to the German police, an Egyptian, 3 Moroccans and a Syrian have all been arrested over the alleged plot in the southern Bavaria state.